Good evening and welcome to Fox News Tonight. Glad you're here. You know, we told you last night about Joe Biden's big 2024 campaign announcement video. I'm still tingling. The one where Joe Biden told you to vote for him or else you're a racist who hates democracy. Remember that theme? On one level, there was nothing surprising about the script because Joe Biden was reading it. He's been saying that kind of for a long time, the same theme. Remember, the speech he gave in front of those Marines and the blood-red backdrop at Independence Hall. You pay for that speech, by the way, with your tax dollars. Joe Biden's speechwriters use rhetoric like that because ever since Donald Trump's election, it's been effective. It scared a lot of people. But now that Democrats have embraced totalitarianism, now that they're arresting their chief political opponents, their rivals, several of his advisors, does the rhetoric actually work still? In 2023, how do Americans respond to authoritarianism who pretend to be fighting authoritarianism? Do you get it? If you get a moment, go on YouTube like I did today and take a look at some of the comments on Joe Biden's speech, the video from yesterday. They're all negative. Honestly, some of them are very funny. For example, here's one. It's nice that he was able to have every single person that ever showed up at one of his rallies all fit into a 3-minute video, said one viewer. Another quote, I wish YouTube would turn back on the dislike vote count, and said another that we might see 81 million votes. Get it? All in, the video got fewer than 400,000 views. That is not much. That is not very good for a presidential candidate who happens to be president of the United States. Now, this could mean that threatening voters and calling them fascists might not work as well as it used to. Certainly, it seems to be what the Biden team thinks. That's kind of switched up today. Think about it. Instead of berating you, they actually talked about policy, Biden style.
My desire to increase U.S. manufacturing and jobs in America is not about China. I'm not concerned about China. Remember, America invented the semiconductor. We invented it. We used to have 40% of the market. And we decided that what we're going to do over the past, I don't know how many decades, we decided that it was going to be cheaper to export jobs and import product.
I'm not concerned about China. Joe Biden says because we invented semiconductors. That's a coherent foreign policy. It is scary. Now, in fairness, Joe Biden is running on what he considers to be one of his signature legislative achievements, the passage of the CHIPS Act. So let's break it down. It includes hundreds of billions of dollars for research into semiconductors. Seems good, which is important if you want electronics to be the future and if you want electronics to work. At least that's how the CHIPS Act was built. Bring the chips home. Now, in reality, the CHIPS Act is yet another vehicle for the Biden administration's equity agenda. Here's how the Biden administration's own website describes one of the bill's key provisions. Quote, women in construction wanted. Applicants for CHIPS funding will be asked to take action to conduct outreach to and retain women in construction jobs because the United States cannot build the semiconductor workforce it needs without them. So, in other words, a bill that's supposed to be about semiconductors is really about funding people on the basis of their gender. We want women. It's social engineering, not real engineering. Multiply the CHIPS Act by 100, and you start to get a sense of the kind of economic destruction Joe Biden is causing. It's not supposed to be the most competitive economy. It's supposed to be the most equitable economy, according to him. That's why, despite a banking crisis and the Fed's prediction that a recession is imminent, Joe Biden said last night that everything is going to according to plan, his plan.
Our economic plan is working. We now have to finish the job, but there's more to do. And you're leading the way. Shovels in the ground, cranes in the air, factories opening, all those jobs, meaning we created. The private sector, at home and abroad, are investing over $400 billion in advanced manufacturing and clean energy here in America. This is real. It's time to finish the job. Finish the job. But also, more years, more years, more years, more years.
Caught him by surprise. It's funny how he thinks that union people want to be yelled at. He thinks that's what they like. Our economic plan is working, he says. Joe Biden says, yeah, everything's going good. They're all saying that, including Joe Biden's Treasury Secretary.
In the United States, our labor market remains strong. Our unemployment rate is near historic lows. Inflation remains too high, although we've seen welcome signs over the past half year that inflation is moderated. I believe our banking system remains strong and resilient. It has solid capital and liquidity, and the U.S. economy is obviously performing exceptionally well.
Really? That's the same Janet Yellen who told us inflation was transitory. Now she admits it is too high, but she wants you to trust her this time because, quote, unemployment is near historic lows. Let's unwind this. It is true, but that's because labor participation rates are also low. They're still dropping. People are not looking for work, so they don't count as unemployed. The current labor force participation rate is under 63%. That's far lower than before the pandemic hit. Again, they tell you the opposite of what is actually true. They're willing to lie about just about anything. Yesterday, the White House spokesperson said House Republicans are the reason, get this, that the border is broken.
It's clear that the Speaker's bill breaks House Republicans' commitment to America. In the run-up to the 2022 election, House Republicans promised to put cops on the beat. Instead, they're fighting to put fentanyl on the street by defunding Border Patrol. Their proposal makes clear that only things House Republicans are committed to giving to Americans are increased crime.
Same Biden administration they call Border Patrol officers racist after they said that they were whipping migrants. Now wants you to believe they care deeply about the Border Patrol. It's Republicans' fault that Joe Biden is causing a humanitarian crisis by refusing to enforce immigration law, any of them. And make no mistake, this is a humanitarian crisis. Today, a whistleblower testified that children are being abused, and she witnessed it because the border is open. And this administration is not doing a thing about it. Listen.
Today, children will work overnight shifts at slaughterhouses, factories, restaurants to pay their debts to smugglers and traffickers. Today, children will be sold for sex. Today, children will call a hotline to report they are being abused, neglected, and trafficked. And we don't know if they're going to get the help they need.
That's what's happening under Joe Biden. Democrats never miss an opportunity to criticize President Trump for his short-lived immigration policy. What they are doing now is so bad that even the New York Times wrote up the story. Yes, the New York Times. This is our children under this president.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.